Welcome to Black Businesses Matter, a podcast about why Black businesses matter and the benefits of collaborating and advocating for Black businesses to drive impact. Each episode will cover legacy, hope, Black joy, funding sources, cultural shifts, equality, and so much more. We will provide inspiration and action while spreading some joy to a thriving community of Black business owners and leading thought leaders.
I am Larvetta Lofton, your host and the founder of the L3 Agency.
Known as the brand maven who transforms organizations with her storytelling prowess, meet Larvetta L. Lofton, host of Black Businesses Matter, a podcast about why Black businesses matter and the benefits of collaborating and advocating for Black businesses to drive impact.
Hi, I'm Katori Shepard, the associate producer here at the Black Businesses Matter podcast. Today's episode is something you really don't want to miss. Make sure you join the conversation by texting BBMFAM, that's BBMFAM, to 312-300-1300. You are in for a treat this season.
Welcome back to another episode of Black Businesses Matter. Hey guys, listen, I have been on a hiatus and I am back in the studio with my friend, and you all, I just cried. So just know that. So, but this means that this episode is going to be powerful and meaningful. We know that to be true because I have a prominent figure that is actually my friend. So I'm excited to have him here in the studio. And so let me say this. When we were talking about kicking off this season, what did we want to do that was different? We built this platform. We built this podcast to shine light on Black businesses where there would never be a discussion of where are these incredible Black businesses owners and Black thought leaders, that we can direct them to a place that you can listen to this, whether you're 4 years old and you want to be inspired, or you are 100 years old and you want to be inspired. Because if you Google Black Businesses Matter, you can listen to it on pretty much all platforms, and I'm grateful for that. So because of that, I am so excited. You guys, we are on our road to the 100th episode. Yes, 100 episode that we are still in this ring. I do want to share that we are also on this road I am going to work very hard to get us, and I'm just saying this to my team, that I want to get us to be able to be a NAACP winner. I am on a journey to do that. This is big for me. I mean, big, but I am going to do big. And my motto for this year is all things new, and don't be afraid of the light, right? If you already have the light, not to be afraid of the light, because light attracts light, and sometimes it's glaring. And so I'm excited about this entire season that we are launching, which is about mentorship. And so oftentimes we look at mentorship as kind of this way, even from a networking, from a business, but it can also be from a personal side, whether that's coping with things that you're faced with. It doesn't always mean that it's a setup for career, but it could actually be a setup for dream building, that it can be dream mapping, that it could be for many different, it could be, I want to be on a journey for motherhood. I've never been a mother, or it could just be a number. And I think we've locked mentorship in the way that it was in this career space, that you need mentorship when you decide that you're going to quit your job and launch your business. You need a mentor, right? You need a mentor when you decide you're going to pivot from an industry that people know you as, and now you're going to do something completely different. So having someone that advocates, that sees you, that values you. And so my next guest, you guys are in for a treat. And when I say for a treat, If you have been rocking with Black Businesses Matter, we have had some of the most outstanding stories of Black businesses. And so we want to just keep getting better. I will say this. Number one, share this podcast with a friend. That's what we want. Number two, give us a rating. And I'm going to say not just a rating because you may know us. Give us a rating because you value this platform, right? Because that's what we care about. And then thirdly, that I think is just powerful, connect with the people that we have on the guest. So go into our show notes and connect with those people. They are there for you to connect. Yes, you hear these stories and you are like, oh my gosh, connect with them. Not just listen to them, but perhaps there's career opportunities, perhaps there's mentor opportunities. So this next guest that I want you all to say is when you look in the show notes and you're looking for a mentor or you're looking for someone who literally his story will blow your mind, and the fact that he's standing here in his authentic self, being very vulnerable. And that's what I love about Scott, because that's the relationship that we've had over the years. And so I'm going to set you all up to our next guest, okay? Our next guest is a prominent figure in education and entrepreneurship, rooted on Chicago South Side. Like, that's who Scott Steward is. With a rich academic background and over 15 years of teaching in Chicago public schools, Scott has inspired countless aspiring entrepreneurs. He has built entrepreneurs all over that are doing outstanding things. He's taught at prestigious institutions like Chicago State University, shout out to Chicago State University, and DePaul University. They're all out of Chicago, and authored influential books. As the founder of Genius Lab Incorporated, Scott empowers youth in business and technology, bridging educational gaps. His ventures, including Planet.ai, and we'll talk about this, and engaging podcasts, highlight his commitment to diverse dialogues. Scott's accolades and mentoring efforts exemplify transformative leadership in education and entrepreneurship. Welcome to the show.
Wow. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm excited.
Wow.
I know, when you listen to your bio, what do you think?
Humbling.
Yeah.
Like, is that possible?
Yeah.
Like, for real?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, my stomach still hurt if I eat the wrong thing. Like,
Yes.
it sounds supernatural. Like,
Yes.
no, but I'm real. I'm human.
You
like,
are.
It's crazy. It's crazy to hear that. But we're supposed to juxtaposition, right? We're supposed to raise our peacock, right? We're supposed to, what is that? Fan our feather, our tail, right? We're supposed to showboat. We're supposed to put it on. But under that, sometimes it's just humility.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very humbling to hear.
It is. And sometimes I find that, right, when I like to read bios. It's intentional for me. I don't try to shorten them because I think that's the story that is always yours. I can't take that story away from you. And I think when people do that, I think you shorten their value, right? And so when I read this, while I've known you for several years, all this is true. I probably got a little bit in there that's that connect point, but it also, while it's humbling for you, on my side, it's also very it's like having the friend that walks across the stage and gets that diploma after knowing everything they've had to go through.
Right, that part.
It's that feeling.
The fact that people still produce anything of value in spite of and despite what they go through.
Yeah.
That's like, there's a miracle in that.
Yeah.
There's a miracle that despite whatever adversity we're faced, whatever challenges we're left to deal with, whatever obstacles we overcome, the fact that you can produce something of value.
Yeah.
And one of the greatest values is what I heard you say when you were reading that is the number of people that I've assisted along the way. And I could do some major name dropping.
I know you can.
People that have said, I want to do this, but I don't know how. It's just an idea in my head. And to literally see them do it, that's a miracle.
It is a miracle. So, Scott, on the show, we
I
like
be trying to be deep. Go
yeah,
ahead.
you are deep. You are. It's okay. It's okay. We like deep. Tell me, I met you, in the adolescent years.
Oh, my gosh.
Right? But who was Scott as a, 6 or 7 year old, 9, 10 year old?
Oh, well, there's a big difference between 6 and 10.
Wow.
Now,
So tell me, when we were
at
6.
6, I was unstoppable. At 6, I was like the what is that? The twinkle in my mother's eye. You know what I mean? At 6, I was like vibrant. Like, I'll do it. Like, put a cape on me. So my fondest, earliest memory is speaking at my kindergarten graduation at Carter G. Woodson Library on 95th and Halsted.
Yes.
And I was on that stage and I recited Langston Hughes' poem.
Oh my gosh.
Life Ain't Been No Crystal Stair. Right?
Best play in the world.
That was the epitome
Best
of
poem.
being
Yes.
6. Like,
Yes.
I was like, and then they gave me a resounding ovation.
Yes.
Oh, what? I'm here for this.
Yes.
By 10, I think I was becoming a little more attracted to the streets.
Okay.
But by 6, I had already established myself as an orator, great speaker, a thinker.
That's who you are today.
Yeah.
Just for the
At
record.
6, from the beginning, right?
Yeah.
But by 10, 9, 10, I'm like, what they doing over there?
Yeah.
That look kind of cool. So there's a difference from 6 to 10.
But I think we need, for our listeners, sometimes I think we have to tell that story, right? That you start on this trajectory, right? And then you hit a pothole. Because that's what it is, right?
Like a 30 years.
It either tear up the car, knock the wheels off. It does all of that, right? And so we don't understand that the potholes gives us what our endurance and our resilience to continue, right?
And the foundation was laid.
Yeah.
I had a strong, solid foundation.
Yeah.
You can't take that away.
Yeah.
Like, you hear people say, you can't block what God got for you.
Yeah.
The setup was the setup.
Yeah.
2-parent household, working household, fresh out of civil rights, new home, neighborhood, block club parties, you know what I mean? Big wheels, Stingrays, Schwinn's, Levi's, Air Force Ones, white T-shirts, everything is good. The foundation was there.
The foundation was there.
So even you talk about mentorship is less about what people say and more about what you see people do. So the mentoring was the community, with the family nucleus, strong foundation, and then it spiraled out behind the community. But then there were some parts of the community that didn't have as solid of a foundation that I wanted to explore a little bit.
And I think here's the thing that I want. When we think about mentorship, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
This may be very biased.
Yeah.
Men.
I'm so, oh my gosh, Scott. I was hoping you would. That is scary. Because I've said that word men inside this meant that only men could mentor to women, because that's that old way. So thank you, Scott.
Men.
Yeah.
And I'm from the generation where, what do they call it today?
What? No.
Toxic masculinity.
Yeah, they do call it just a whole nerd. Yes, it is. It's a whole vibe on that.
I'm from a generation of alpha males.
Yeah.
Men held it down.
Yeah.
Bears.
Yeah.
Gorillas.
Yeah.
Silverbacks.
Yeah.
Strong men breaking up concrete. Building houses from camping trips and fires out of sticks.
Yeah.
So men, they didn't even talk that much. Matter of fact, don't even talk to us.
Yeah.
sit down somewhere and observe.
Observe.
Mentorship. Men. Strong men.
How do you think that impacts the world today when we are living in this world of the woman?
We soft. I literally just had this conversation with my son like 2 days ago. He plays basketball.
Okay. And Scott, you play ball.
I play ball.
Yeah.
He's a much better athlete than I ever was. Trust me.
Take
I
it
mean,
from
I got
the
a
dad.
wicked shot. I still got a wicked shot. My shot is still wet.
Okay.
But we could see you about to do that thing.
What?
Because you about to make me tell the story.
Please.
So when first things first, I was telling my son that his generation is soft.
Okay.
Ain't no dogs on this team. Ain't no wolves on this team. Like they like, oh, we could play. Oh, like he literally. I don't want to put him out there too bad, but he apologized for knocking that wind out of another play on the opposite team. I was like, what you apologizing for? We from the Detroit Pistons 90s, boy. Like what? This is what we do. They too soft. And so when you say, like I know my father, my son is a better basketball player than me because when I played, my father was guiding me in the sport. And when my parents split, I thought the best way I could hurt my father was to stop playing the sport.
Wow. Okay.
My son plays, like it's almost like he picked up where I left off. He plays for the work ethic.
Wow.
He plays to be a dog.
Wow. Wow. So he doesn't need your validation. That's incredible.
I needed my dad's validation.
I know. Yeah. We all struggle in that generation, I think.
And it's an ACE. It's an adverse childhood experience. And it sometimes shows up at 50 whatever I am today.
Yeah, it does. It does. But we don't know that when we're in it. When we're in that car, before we hit that pothole, we out here living our best lives.
Yeah.
So when you think about like men, mentorship, right? Who was your first mentor?
Well, of course, Dad.
That's good. Yeah. Did you know that when?
No.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
He was too tough. He thought he was too tough.
Yeah.
I was telling my cousin yesterday, it's like, Pops could talk and you just started crying.
Yeah.
Because them words were so.
Yeah.
But it was love. I saw that, that clip of Denzel talking on Fences.
Yes.
There's a clip that's circulating now. That was my father.
Yeah. Fences is a deep play, and I'm a fan of the work of why can't I think of his name right now?
Oh, the playwright. The playwright.
Thank you, August. And I should know that, but I've been struggling with brain fog for some reason. I don't know if that's part of my 50 life or what's happening, but it's becoming.
Possible. It's possible.
Be quiet. So if we take this male dominant mentor growing up and knowing that your dad was your first mentor, who would be your first living or not living celebrity mentor?
Russell Simmons.
Okay, why?
Because he was a businessman, a serious businessman, representing hip hop, which was extremely innovative and creative. That plays to me, and he showed up authentically himself. And he seemed to get the respect of the establishment in doing so.
Agreed.
So before Jay-Z, it was Russell Simmons.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I could see that. Totally from a brand, right? And he was in this idea, because, we work in the space of marketing. He was an influencer. And he was influencing fashion. He was influencing culture.
Lifestyle, culture, music.
Yeah.
You know who else is Dr. Michael Eric Dyson?
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
I love how he manipulates words, and I don't mean manipulating the negative, but just like he flows in and out of the educational and street vernacular with like grace.
Yeah. He does. I agree with. He just definitely does that. I mean, his books are like that too. So I totally could see that. Who is your aspiring mentor? Living, of course.
Living
Living.
Well, it's Dr. Myron Golden.
Tell me about Dr. Myron Golden.
The way he makes sense of, he preaches. He's a preacher and a business leader.
Okay.
But he preaches this thing like about wealth generation. He's 10 years older than us, so he was born in 61. I was born in 71.
Okay.
And he teaches these principles about, one reason that we as a people are not wealthy is because we think wealth is like bad.
That's
like the villains are, being rich is for bad people. Mm-hmm. But he teaches the biblical principles on why it's okay to have wealth and to be comfortable in that. And so he's not a Bible thumping preacher, but he bridges scripture with running a business and being profitable and wealthy at the same time.
So knowing that, right, that's your aspiring mentor, how will you engage to make him your mentor?
It's so funny. So I put it out there. It's out there. I've chatted with him or somebody from his team. There was one time I believe it was him. There are other times I'm clear it's his team. But last week, literally, is today Friday? Last Thursday, was at the Hilton. There was a conference for the National 100 Black Women. The national conference was at the Hilton. I happened to be passing through. Seen his brother walking through the hallway. He had a grill. He was about our age, had a grill, had some fresh dunks on. I was like, bro, them dunks fresh. And then he started talking. I was like, oh, where you from? He was like, I'm from Tampa. I was like, oh, Tampa. Man, I pay attention to Myron Golden. He's out of Tampa. He like, what? Hold on. He goes to get his wife. And he said, this is my wife. Tell her what you just told me. I said, oh, Myron Golden, that's somebody I aspire. Like, he's the truth. She was like, that's my cousin, my first cousin. Like, we were just together like last weekend. Like, he preached at a wedding, a funeral of an uncle of theirs that just passed. Like, I could call him on the phone right now. I was like, no, you don't have to do that. Yeah. We don't need that. But that's confirmation that I will sit. Myron offers this deal where you can be mentored by him in his private jet from like Tampa to the Bahamas.
Wow.
And it's $350,000 for this opportunity. Only like 8 people get it.
Wow.
And so I desire to afford that.
We speak. Wait, let me tell you something. Whoever's listening, if you have a connection to him, and so that you can connect to be able to ensure that he has that opportunity, we got to start speaking that and tell that to our BBM family and community that that's your desire as someone who has mentored.
So let's go here. And I do pick up some of this from Myron. You do have to, well, first of all, what I'm about to say comes from Dr. Ashina Baez.
Okay.
Speak what you seek until you see what you say.
Yeah.
She's the first person I ever heard say that. Speak what you seek until you see what you say. The Bible talks about, all throughout the Bible, it talks about believe, 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 believe. Like, you have to believe. John 3:16, okay? It's tattooed on our arm, okay? For those who can't see.
Yes.
Okay, so just as much as I believe I'm going to be over here at this event tonight, just as much as I believe I'm going to see Father's Day on Sunday, just as much as I believe I'm going to go down to the Jazzing on the Shed next week, Wednesday for Juneteenth, just as much as I believe that, I need to be able to believe everything else in my life.
Yeah.
Once you believe it, you're like making it so real. So I'm also from that generation of like, fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Which was totally wrong.
It's totally wrong.
Totally wrong. It's
blasphemy.
like be it.
Be it.
To become it.
Correct.
Like you ain't gotta fake it, like
You sure
be
don't.
it.
You don't.
So I'm really digging this whole thing about like believing.
Yeah.
I used to be like, what's your goal for the year? I want to make $1 million. But then subconsciously I'm like, how I'm gonna make $1 million? So there's no belief.
Yeah.
It's doubt.
I agree.
It's all doubt.
Yeah.
It's like you just talking stuff. You know what I mean? So you ain't saying.
Yeah.
When you get to the point where you truly believe the words coming out your own mouth, because I'm not worried about us lying to other people.
Yep.
The big concern is the lies we tell ourselves.
I agree.
When nobody else is around.
It's the self-talk. I call it the self-talk that will tell us that we're not worthy, that and I do believe that comes when we talk about imposter syndrome, right? And so we don't realize, which is why I believe that mentors help to, I believe, minimize that self-talk and that imposter syndrome. Because when you have someone on the other end that believes in you, oh my gosh, right? It takes you to another level. And I know that because how many of us, and I know this to be true, you're about to get an award tonight, and there is somebody that's going to clap for Scott, whether it's 1 or 10. That's going to make Scott know that somebody believes in Scott. And we don't understand that every person needs that.
And you are telling the truth. We also have to add that in as much as we appreciate other people, you got to have that for yourself when nobody else is around.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
Yeah.
As a mentor, it's my role, and I haven't always done this, Larvetta.
Yeah.
This is relatively new to really, you heard kids say, stand on business.
Yes.
Them words and actions must align.
The words and the actions.
They must align. They have to align. And so where does it come from? You got to practice it. You really have to practice aligning words and actions. Now, some people got it. They didn't figure it out. A lot of us haven't. My role as a mentor, and I'm talking about the many young people that I have mentored along the way, they have to see that if I don't say anything, because I can be witty with the words, but if I don't speak a word, that my actions prove to be true. I have to build that up. You, listeners, you got to build that up for yourself first through practice. You got to, words and actions must align.
I receive that with everything. And I think that we don't see that. And when we think of mentor, I think in the traditional sense, because I've looked up mentorships and it's like so many, it's called reverse mentorship. They didn't came up with about 50 peer-to-peer. It's called even, I don't even know, ordering mentorship, virtual group, reverse, and of course, traditional, right? And so now what I always say is when there's about 5 new terms in the world, that means it's powerful. Okay? It's powerful. When you can take diversity, equity, and inclusion, which meant affirmative action originally, we got another word. That means that we're powerful. And we don't understand because what? In the Bible, right? And we want to speak life, that the power of the tongue can speak life or death. So we know that words are powerful.
Words. What I said.
And
words,
so knowing that you have the words and the actions to line up. So you know that we are bringing in outstanding mentors, and we're also wanting you to identify your mentee, right? Before we get there, one of the things that I wanted to ask you, it's fairly new, but I think you are appropriate to ask this, right? Do you believe as mentors, as we see people work and then they hit they hit social media, right? We go on social media and life happens, whether that's assault that we saw from them. We see behavior that is different from the way we see them, right? But they were still our mentors, right? Yeah. But now we've denounced them as our mentors because of their behavior. So when you said that, I want to see how do we help? Because I think when it comes to us as Black and brown individuals, we lift our mentors and our icons to a higher degree, knowing that they fail. And that's what I love what you just said. I just got this. Like, this ain't new. So know that if you met Scott 7 years ago, this wasn't the same Scott. So I think that's powerful. But how do we prepare? Let's say that. How do we prepare ourselves to have humanity with our mentors?
Yeah, that's a powerful, powerful question, Larvetta. I don't know that I have the answer. And sometimes I try to show up like I always have the answer, but I don't. But it makes me think about the question you asked in the beginning about hearing you read my bio. And the front is everything is good and sweet. Well, right now, what's on paper, if you read that and be like, that's that dude sitting right here with this lime green hoodie and these slides, like, that can't be the same person. So, but the truth is, it absolutely can be the same person. It is the same person. How I show up for my mom might be different from how I show up for the homies, might be different from how I show up for my son or his mom or my aunt. Like, I think we have to remember that, you know, we are diverse. We are complex individuals that we battle ourselves like we're human. Like, nobody got it figured out. Nobody has it all figured out. I'd say this, like, Jay and Beyonce, they stuff ain't sweet, y'all. It's like they get on each other's nerves too. They argue too. Like,
they quit each other too.
Man, come on, like
they quit the business too.
Yeah, like, it's just everybody got to go poop at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like, you gonna sit on that crown, you gonna sit on that throne, and get that up out your system. Everybody got to do it. There's nobody like stuff don't stink. To some capacity. We're all out here trying to hide our stuff, our spirit, how we really feel. We're draping it in clothes. We're draping it in cars. We're draping it in vacations. But the truth of it is the battle that we have with ourselves. So before you start judging somebody else, check yourself. Like, how much grace do you want others to be able to give you? Because we ain't always right. My thoughts ain't always right. Like, you ain't heard it today, but my mouth is filthy. I have a terrible mouth. Like, I'm not mean in traffic, but I've seen people who are great people at what they do. They have road rage. Like, I've seen this. Like, and I think we just got to remember that, Larvetta. Like, yo, no, I don't care who they are. I don't care what Oprah. I don't care what stage you are on. Like, yo, you dealing with some stuff too. You dealing with yourself too. You just get to mask it better than most of us. Yeah.
And I remember saying that sometimes they get to mask because they get to pay for the mask because they got the more zeros. Because our mask, oftentimes within some sectors, your peers see that.
But, like, even if you messed up, let's say Larvetta Lofton messes up in some capacity.
And I mess up quite often.
But who's like, who's canceling you?
Right.
Who's canceling?
Right.
It could be anything. Larvetta stole $300,000.
Yep.
Like, okay.
Okay.
Like, So when does it change? Like at what point? I don't know. I don't know what we as humans are doing. I don't know. I don't have the answer. I don't know how you not put people on a pedestal and then not tear them down. I don't. I'm from Chicago. So ain't nobody, we don't care who you are coming from here. Like, we ain't doing all that. Yeah. Like, you ain't better than nobody. Yeah. That's what we do in Chicago.
That's
I don't
right.
care who you are.
You right about it. We like, come. I know you off 79th Street. Don't play. Don't play. Like, I said, I know you for real.
And they
real.
call us haters, but
I think it's not. And what I say is, you started off. It humbles you, not humility. Hate. It is humility.
It's humility. Don't come in here with all that.
Correct. Don't come in there with all that. Don't. You're listening to Black Businesses Matter, and we will continue our conversation in a second. But first, take a listen to this special message for our BBM fam.
We know how important it is to stay connected, so why not join our BBM Fam Club for special announcements and exclusive offers by texting BBM FAM to 312-300-1300. That's BBM FAM to 312-300-1300 today. Now let's get back to Black Businesses Matter.
And so given the fact, Scott, and you've mentored so many people. I want to talk even from a peer-to-peer. Do you have a peer-to-peer mentor that's because sometimes we don't think that we can have a friend, a neighbor, a minister, to be our peer, meaning we at the same, you know what I mean? We striving for the same thing, and they can be our mentor for a particular area of our lives. Do you have one?
I have a couple.
Oh, good.
So
we want to shout him out.
Eric McLeod,
the
financial whisperer.
Yes.
Has been mentoring me financially for the last almost 4 or 5 years.
Amen. Yes.
Thank God for him.
Yes. Thank God for him.
Yeah. And then there's Mr. Stan Washington.
Okay, Mr. Stan Washington.
Former McDonald's executive who now runs the God-centered business organization and conference that's coming up this fall.
Okay.
He doesn't call me Scott. He doesn't call me Stu. He calls me Joshua. He says, my name is Joshua. God told him that my name, and he's a pastor as well.
I love it.
And so he calls me Joshua. And he has really helped me on my spiritual journey over the last 11 to 12 years. God. So shout out to Stan.
Shout out to Stan.
My mentee is also someone who I really listen to. So in some regards, in lots of regards, he is also a mentor, although he's 20 years younger than me.
Yeah.
Because he has new perspectives. Like I planted a seed, and that seed is growing and blossoming, and there's I can learn from him. He gives me new perspectives, particularly as it applies to growing up in the late, being born in the 90s. New perspectives. And shout out to Dice.
Dice. That's his name? Dice.
His name is Dice.
Shout out to Dice, because she's coming on the show, right? He's coming on our show.
Dice Granberry is going to come on the show. When I first met this young man, it reminded me of when I first met Mobb Deep, Havoc from Mobb Deep. And I loved Havoc from Mobb Deep.
Shout out to Mobb Deep, yes.
Actually, I met Prodigy first.
Okay.
Rest in peace, Prodigy.
Yes, rest in peace.
But he was dirty. P was dirty. Like, his braids was dirty. His T-shirt, you could tell he had been in his T-shirt for a couple days. And this is like Shook Ones has been out. Like, this is happening. But when I met Dice, I mean, he wasn't like that, but he was like 14 years old. You could tell he'd be outside. And he had, I don't even know if I should say this, but.
It's okay. It's all right.
But you could tell he'd be outside.
Okay, let's leave it out outside.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
It's all right.
And so I was teaching this After School Matters program at his school at Austin on the west side.
Okay.
And I told all these young men, it was me and a brother named Michael Levesque. Michael is a Morehouse man.
Okay.
And I walked in here and said, Mike, I ain't got time to play with these kids, man. This is an after-school program. After-school matters ain't paying us all that kind of money to be in here fighting with kids to be in this program. We're teaching entrepreneurship. I said, follow my lead, Mike. I walk into class. I say, listen, because the kids got paid to be there. I say, if you only here for the money, leave now and I'll pay you all your money. You ain't never got to come back. And a couple of students was like, for real? Wow. And so like 2 or 3 students was like, I was like, if you want to leave, raise your hand. We'll take your name. You'll get all your money.
Wow.
Don't come back. And Dice was like, he had never heard somebody say something to him like that. And he was like, whatever you got to say, I want that.
Wow.
And he and I have been at each other's hip since then. And that was 19 years ago.
Wow.
About 19 years ago. And Dice is now married.
Wow.
With 3 children.
Wow.
Has a home. It's like he's a homeowner.
Yeah.
He is a business owner. He owns multiple businesses.
Wow.
And he and I meet and talk regularly. He gleans from me. I glean from him. And it is a wonderful relationship that we have.
Shout out to your mentors and the ability to have this. I believe in the mentor-mentee relationship. It's not one. It's you can one point be the mentor and then you can be mentored. You know, I do believe in that. And so I love that you share that, because the reason why I wanted to do this season is because when it came to Black culture and Black business owners, what I never heard, I hadn't seen, was we heard the story of help them until they left. We heard about Mr. Johnson and Ebony, all the stories, but this was after he left. And so I said to myself, what would it look like if we were able to bring these amazing businesses who have been mentoring and shine light on the mentor and the mentee so that we can watch progress. So we can, because we talk about legacy, that's legacy. But we talk from legacy as if we're gone. And legacy is right there, right? He has a family now. You're responsible for those seeds of being able to now have a family, and then have a business, and then have a marriage, and then have, and a home. All these things are the dream, right? This is the dream. And so I don't think that I had studied, like, where did I see that? And I hadn't seen it, right? So, when I don't see something, I'm going to do it. When I get angry enough, that's what happens. And so when you share that from that standpoint, I see the shout outs, oftentimes in certain industries, right? We talk about film. They shout out within that industry, right? And that's fine. And so we hear that from a Taraji to a Gabrielle, or whomever, right? But I want to shout out from a Scott Steward, right? And that's in that industry, from a tech, from an entrepreneurship. Where are we able to do that so that we are able to build on, I truly believe, on the power of legacy and how it starts?
You are spot on, right? And as I listened to you, I realized I left out some important information.
Okay.
Because how I've been trained and socialized, we just get to the good parts.
Yeah.
See, I didn't tell you about what I demonstrated to Dice. I didn't tell you, like, what it's taken for him to stay married and have children and literally... True. Stu's moment of transparency.
Yeah.
There have been times when I have had to call him, hey, brother, can you send me a few dollars?
Amen.
There have been times when he's, hey, brother, can you hold me down? Yep. You know what I'm like he sees that just because you grown don't mean that you always got it figured out. He was with me when My son was born. He was with me through my divorce. He saw that even though he has his own parents and have their challenges and, you know, families have families. So we're not just talking about you went from mentoring and you mentored and now he's got a house. No. There's a lot of dirty work.
I like that you
because we're gardening. I know I'm in the seed planting business. And when I plant those seeds, I'm putting seeds down in the ground where it's dark and it's cold and it's dirty.
It's dirty.
And you have to fight to be a seed in order to sprout. And people don't truly appreciate that in order to go up, you have to go down first to get to the root and lay that foundation so you can have something solid to stand. It doesn't mean there won't be winters. It doesn't mean there won't be storms and hail and the rodents won't eat at you. It doesn't mean any of that. So as I was listening to us, you know, have this conversation, I realized, man, I left out the part that everybody always leaves out.
Too. We did.
The hard work.
Yeah.
Like, whatever you're going through right now, loss, and I'm talking loss of money, loss of friends, loss of relationships, loss of houses, loss of cars, loss of people, you know, loss, period. Just, you talked about imposter syndrome when you're fighting yourself. Having someone, as you've already said, that maybe you can call on and bounce off of, that really believes in you, sees something in you, is a difference maker. One activity I've done with DICE, and I've done it with every young person who I've had the opportunity to get to mentor. It was in 2016, 2015. I had DICE come up with a list, and it's something I've done myself, of 50 things that you want to accomplish, 50 goals that only God can make happen. Like you gotta, they gotta be big. They have to be scary. Like dream big. And so he created the list. I have a copy of it. He has a copy of it. And every so often we pull it out and we look at it, and he has literally crossed out so many things off this list. And that gives us hope.
Yeah.
Like, what else can we dream? You know, that was 10 years, that was 5 years ago, that was 7 years ago, that's 10 years ago. What else can we? And we keep extending this list of like, what's next?
And I think that, remember, I said that mentorship could be for dream mapping, right?
Yes.
It doesn't have to be this traditional career path, right? It's dream mapping. And you're in that example, just warms my heart. You know, it's interesting because right before we got on, you mentioned Cat Williams, and I'm only bringing it up because you're here and I can be my authentic self. And normally I am. I tell people that 90% I am, and then there's 10% that I still have to work through.
You're at 90-10, huh?
I'm at 90. I will show up.
That makes sense. I see it. Yeah, I see it.
show up. But 10%, I still struggle in rooms that I know I have to fight. And so I still feel like I have to code switch and not show up authentically, right? And so, because I am unapologetically support Black, you know that. Like, that's it. Anytime I can put money into another Black person's hands, I'm going to do it at all costs, and I don't care about it, right? And so the part isn't, and part of that is, that doesn't mean that I'm against anything that's not Black. Let me be clear. I'm just intentional with starting there first versus starting there last, because we get the last a lot of times in everything, right? We get the crumbs to something versus, can I get the best in this first? And after I've done everything I can do, then I may go here. And that's what a lot of times we stop, right? I got accepted to this, but man, you know, well, I guess I'll end up at a Black school. We used to say that. Like, I guess I'll just end up at a Black school because I didn't get into that white school. We tend to put us at the end. And so I flip it, right? But when I talk about Cat Williams, the reason why I wanted to bring him up was Club Shay Shay podcast, right? I was not a fan of the platform.
Before when? Because it sounds like you say was not, sounds like so you are now.
So when you talked about humanity, and I think what happens was it was listening to Cat Williams, I became a fan. So here's the crazy part, but I wasn't a fan of Cat Williams.
Yeah. I had never seen, I think I've only seen one Cat Williams special before then.
I've never, because I felt that his mouth was so filthy, I couldn't get past that, right? And just knowing that when I sat and he's so unapologetic about who he is.
Yeah.
And I don't care the way my hair, I don't care how you feel. I'm going to say what I want to say, and I dare you to say anything back at me because I got to, there is a sense of confidence that he walks in that I literally gained. I was like, oh, I can flex a little bit because of Cat.
Yes, you can.
You know?
Yes, you can.
And so he gave me that level of confidence within myself that in some cases I'm quirky, but guess what? So what? Right? And so the reason why I didn't like Club Shay Shay, and I can say this because I'm a fan, was because my background is in the journalism space, right? That's who I am. That's my ground. That's the place that I was planted. And so I felt to myself, I was like, he ain't doing enough research on these people. And so that's form of judgment, right? And so, but he created a show the way he wanted to create the darn show. Like, better, how you gonna just, and he said it. I'm not a journalist.
Right.
When you say he's not pretending to be that, he is that. And so I took this approach today, which I do think to me is because I'm watching it, I'm seeing him evolving. I'm seeing him evolve. Like kind of where it started, now I'm seeing him evolve. And so my reason for saying that is the fact that you brought up dirt was a trigger because in my mind, right, Cat had dirty words. Like he said all these dirty things about women. But that was part of his art. That's part of his art. And so don't take offense to it. That's who his art is. Not your fate, not your thing. And that's okay that it's not your thing. But what I realized is when I sat there and listened to that episode and it was long, what Club Shay Shay has done is given a platform for us to be free to tell our story. That we don't have a commercial that's going to come through and, I got to cut that out. I got to bleep that out. Oh, we can't do. We have been silenced, muted way too long. And so once I got and understood the assignment that Club Shay was, I was like, oh, we need this. We need our stories to be told because, Scott, you just said it. You went straight to the, right? Socialized, let me tell you the end. But we missed the dirty. And Cat did that. He walked through his, he walked through it. And he talked about people.
He stood on it.
He stood on it. Whether you believe it, whatever, I don't really care.
Yeah.
But he was like, I'm Cat Williams. I've been up in here. I got a Netflix. I'm going to keep doing this. And quite frankly, I'm like, you winning because if we take him and we look at him, we would think,
See what I'm saying?
Nah.
That's what I was saying about you read that bio and then you see it and you'd be like, nah. Now, there's another piece to this mentoring thing that we haven't mentioned, but you're alluding to it right now. It's, you said vulnerability earlier. You do have to be vulnerable. The word I'm thinking of is transparency.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Being vulnerable is one thing, but there's a level of
transparency.
So I'm on my Instagram, I do a lot of, I repeat the same thing over and over again, and I call it's the behind the scenes work because it's the conversation I have with myself every single day. What I repeat about being consistent with a little bit of discipline, when I talk about the 5 pillars, power and self-control, self-truth, vision, accountability, and self-talk and affirmations, like that is the conversation I'm having in my head all day. But it requires us, it's the behind the scenes work. being a great mentor, being a halfway decent mentor, requires us to be transparent.
That's true.
You don't just get to see the applause. That I blame Disney.
And I was a Disney girl.
Oh my gosh, we to this day, and they lived happily ever.
Right.
You know, you got this. You know what it is. And then something happens, life happens. Some people don't like me.
Yep.
Now I'm outcast,
Yep.
and I'm gonna find my dream.
Yeah.
And they lived happily ever after.
Yeah.
But we don't talk about, you said, what's after? So what they just kept walking into the moon, to the sunset? They just kept walking?
They just kept walking.
Like, they ain't talking about
no
nothing,
dirt, no wind came, no snowstorm,
40
nothing.
years later, like nothing. They just, that's it. You just go keep walking into this bliss of hope.
Yeah.
That's what it was. That's what
Yeah.
it's like. They lived happily ever after.
That's right. The princess never had a bad day, right? Princess never had a bad hair day. The princess never had I don't really feel like putting on no clothes. She was cute every day.
Did they go to work afterwards? Like, was he still princing? Like what? Like, so we got to be transparent about the process, because tonight I get to show up and get the award and look fly and have fun. Yes. And we're gonna sit in
Shout
that.
out. So let's just take a moment to honor and celebrate our man of excellence from Chicago, defender and WVON. Scott Steward will be accepting his award this evening. While you will hear this after the fact, but it will force you to learn about who Scott Steward is, because he is being acknowledged for the work, for the contributions, for the sacrifice, for all of the things that he's done to be able to stand here as a man who has humility and transparency. And so shout out to you. Receive your flowers, and there's more to come. Like, this is not just it, right? This is just the beginning or the middle, and let's keep it coming. Like, the idea of that is, I think when we receive these awards, let them keep coming. Lord, continue to aid him, equip him, give him the tools to continue to do it, give him the resilience to continue, because when you get that, that's not the stop. Keep it. And so reminding us that is important. And so, guys, if you go into these show notes and learn, tell him congratulations, even after the award. Like, that's the other part. You get the award on the day, say congratulations, whether it's 2 months later, 3 months later, 2 weeks. Congratulations is still powerful.
Wow, that means a lot. Thank you for that, Larvetta. I give all the glory to God.
I know you do.
And I share the award. There are 47 black men.
Yes, it is.
Getting this award.
My other good friend, Brian Foster.
Farley Jackmaster Funk.
Farley's on there too.
Farley is on there. Carl Kemp, Vondell Singleton.
Okay.
I believe in Yatu Marvell may be on there.
Okay. Black men are amazing. Hashtag Black men are amazing.
Amen.
And that we are talking about mentorship. So just sit with that for a minute. Sometimes we hear a lot about our black men that are not positive. And so I love that Defender really highlights, that particular, they have a woman of excellence, they have a man in excellence. And I think it's powerful to see all those black men checking off. And I say checking off because I think it's the same with women. We're checking off the thing. Like, we checking off that goal. Black men are doing the same thing, right? It's not, we have to understand that even in the mentorship, and I love that you had, honestly, I do want to say this. I'm glad that you have men mentors.
I do.
And I'm saying that because it's unfortunate because of that, sometimes I geared toward the men, right? And that's okay, because the mentorship is the men. And I think it's still the head, it's still the priesthood, and it's still powerful. I don't want to sit in the man seat. I know that we're independent women and we're this, but there was design for mentorship because the man was the priest. And we get in this thing that the man is the provider. So here's what I've had to say. God is the provider.
Amen.
Okay? So if God is the provider, the man can provide things to be able to make that home a priest, where a priest can lay his head and there could be fruit from there, right? And we don't realize that power and that, and I struggle with that because sometimes as women, and I'm guilty of it, like sometimes we've had to do it. Let's just say what it is. We've had to do it. Not because we wanted to do it. We've had to do it. But I still think that there's a position for the priest. There's a position still there. Sometimes the man doesn't want the priest position, right?
Yeah, well, it goes back to the point. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. It comes with a lot.
It does.
You have to be responsible. And I was having a situation this morning. I literally was like, I don't want to do this. Like, this is too hard.
I know.
It's hard. It's hard as a man. And men, we still in 2024, we not accepting men really talking about this too tough because it forces us to sit and deal with this thing called emotions, and we not really on that as men. Even today, it's not. But if you get some men in the room, I promise you, there'll be a lot of us like, man, this shit hard.
Yeah,
this is hard. Like, but we got to do it, and it's hard. It's a heavy lift, just for us to take care of ourselves and our own guilty pleasures, let alone providing for, taking care of, or being in charge of others. And we're expected to do it, and that's how we're built. But I'll tell you, and on this Father's Day weekend, I don't know if we dating
we'll
the
air
episode,
after, but that's again what I always say is that's okay. It's still Father's Day for 2025.
Yeah, well, but it is momentous. But yeah, shout out to the men. Like, I'm looking to shout brothers out.
Yeah, I love
good brothers.
I love it
because I know women. Look, I love women. I love black women. Shout out to the black woman. Let's protect black women. Let's take care of black women.
And I appreciate. And I'm gonna tell you something about Scott. That's personal, guys. That I think is just who he is even today. We had the pleasure of going to Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I was a freshman. Scott was a sophomore, right? When
you came out in
90,
I was a sophomore.
And so I had a very bad experience at Southern. Wasn't my best experience. However, I had a tribe of folks from Chicago that loved on me through it, and they allowed for me to not get in my head and not allow myself to feel like I wasn't worthy of being there. And Scott, because he's tall, right, was this protector in this big brother way, because I'm this new freshman who is experiencing, social, society norms and finding friends and being able to connect with women on campus, because it's very scary in that space. But Scott was just the big brother that just like opens the door. You okay? You good? You all right? If somebody bother you, let me know. I got you. But that in that very own was this brother mentorship space that still is the same thing today. Like, you have this protector vibe and aura about yourself that I know it only comes from, it's a gift from God, because it is so transparent that it just made me feel like I'm going to be all right because I got Big Stu. Big Stu is in the building. And we say that Big Stu is in the building. And when he was in the building, you like, we good. Yeah. We are so good. And so I have to tell people that you have been that from day one. I mean, just even as as this young freshman who kind of was trying to figure out life, and I'm here, but I had all these people from Chicago, and I'm like, yes, I got these Chicago brothers and sisters, because that's what Chicago does.
Right. That's right.
And so I just wanted to bring that up because Big Stu had such a presence. Even
Thank you
to
for
that.
that.
Yeah,
Thank you for that.
Yeah, you were my big bro.
Well, and for those who don't know, your smile, which you've always had, and you know this to be true, is absolutely infectious. Lights up the room. You carry that. We could do this all day, by the way. You know, and we would. Like,
yes.
But Larvetta, you've always been super dope to me, and you've always been somebody that I've revered and would only respect. You know, like, there's some thoughts out there. You know, you ain't one of them. You ain't one of them. Like, we're gonna hold her down. We're gonna treat her right. And
I appreciate that.
It's some women out there that don't want to be treated right. So. That's another conversation for another podcast.
But I thank God for. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no, you've always been dope and had class.
Thank you.
High quality.
Thank
you know,
you.
so yeah, we're gonna honor that.
Thank
yeah.
you. I
And
appreciate
let that be a note to your young listener, female listeners. You heard what I said. You always showed up with class and high quality. You had standards. You wasn't going for none. And so men will honor that. Shout out to your mama.
Yeah.
Shout out to your mama for instilling that in you.
Yes.
But so a real man is going to honor that.
Yes.
And that's what we did. There's a lot of real brothers from the yard.
It is.
And we have.
It is. And I'm grateful. And shout out to my mother, Goreen Lofton. I talk about her a lot because she's, it's funny you said classy. She was like, I don't care what you do, keep it classy.
That's right.
Keep it classy.
That's right.
And so when you say that, that was my mom. She was like, we ain't got to have a lot, but you can be classy.
That's right.
You can be classy, right? And so now that we are, I want now for you to talk about the business.
Yeah.
How can people, this is your moment to brag. Me and Katori been talking about this. And I want, sometimes we have a hard time talking about ourselves and all the good, right? So we're going to give you an opportunity to brag. Brag. This is brag moments.
I get my moment.
You got brag moments on Black business.
I almost need an instrumental. I almost, give me an instrumental, brother. I might go back and pull it out, brother. You find the right boom bap.
Come on and brag. This is the BBM brag moment.
BBM brag moment. Hey,
yes.
yo. So thank you, Larvetta. I have two major businesses right now.
Okay.
Genius Lab is everything.
Yes.
Shout out to Genius Lab.
Yes. Shout out to Genius Lab.
Shout out to Genius Lab. But you know what? Look, y'all, don't get this twisted. Like, the brand is bigger than myself right now.
It is. Thank God for that.
And we're still waiting on the bank account to catch up. Don't get it twisted. We still need them checks, y'all. I'm constantly doing invoices, y'all. We need them. We need it all, every bit of it. Don't get it twisted. But we are focused squarely on preparing young people, particularly Black and brown, particularly Black young people, for careers in business and technology.
Yep.
So we have been in business. We were once Project Tech Teens.
Yes.
And I actually lost that business.
Oh. Because you were, I remember.
This is part of the story, right? Like, we lost Project Tech Teens. My business partner was from Australia and didn't like how we were moving in this American pace and kind of put me in a trick bag. And so I abandoned Project Tech Teens, but kept with a varying mission and birthed Genius Lab. But we've been in business for over 10 years. We've helped over close to 5,000 young people in the last 10 years. We did 300 this year. We're looking to do 1,000 next year. And many of our young people, matter of fact, Dorothy Genius.
Okay.
She is Dorothy Tillman's granddaughter.
Oh, wow.
She's the youngest doctorate in America.
Wow.
Was one of our first students.
Wow.
Yes.
Outstanding.
So many of our students have gone on to college and to graduate with careers in IT or computer science or business. And now are, we're seeing it because we met them when they were, 14, years old or so. And many of them are now coming out of college.
Okay.
So shout out to Genius Lab for that. And then my latest venture is Planet, PLANNIT.
.ai.
PLANNIT.ai. It is a AI-generated software business plan development app.
Okay.
So with 8 easy prompts, you answer these questions, and using ChatGPT 3.5, you can upgrade to the 4.0 premium. It will deliver for you a business plan.
I love it. Yes.
So we just launched almost a year ago. It's been about a year now.
Okay.
We started off freemium as a freemium model.
Okay.
And now it's a it's a pay-per plan model.
Got it.
And we have about 7,000 users.
Oh, outstanding.
We're hovering around, 500-600 daily active users right now. And we're brand spanking new.
Yeah.
And we're changing the game on how businesses are developed. We're looking at small business development centers and SBAs in various parts of the country, as well as tapping into this post-secondary network with colleges and universities, and even integrating into some high schools for those revolutionary school leaders who don't mind bringing on entrepreneurship and teaching that to young people.
When I say I love that, because a lot of times there are just people that don't like to do a business plan. And in fact, that there is a tool that can help that business that's in your head, everybody, that business that's in your head, you have the opportunity to put it on paper where you can present it to your family members now. Because a lot of times when it comes to Black and brown entrepreneurs, our first investment comes from our cousin, our auntie, our mamas, our daddies, right? Whether that's $50, $75, if you selling, a rib, a full rib dinner.
Rib dinners.
It starts with the family, right?
Yeah.
The family starts that. So I think being able to build that business plan in probably what you said in minutes, right?
So it'll take you to answer the 8 questions, depending on how deep you want to go with your answers. So the AI is doing a lot of the work for you, but ideally what you would be doing is looking at what the AI is generating and then embedding your own stuff on top of that. So what would take you months, you literally now can do in minutes.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Shout out to
So give it a shot.
Scott on, guys, you heard it, geniuslabchicago.com. That's where you can learn information about Genius Lab Chicago. And then, of course, Planet. That is PLANNIT. Okay, not in planet, y'all. PLANET. But PLANNIT.ai. That is the new. Yeah. That's the new, instead of .com, it's now AI. I've got another one that's like
.co,
.it,
.us.
Yeah. So it's coming, and you're hearing it from people that are marketers and technology. So know that it's coming. So don't be alarmed. And then Scott, how do people get to you?
Yeah, well, I'm heavy on Instagram. I like Instagram.
What's your handle?
At Professor Stew, STEW, Professor Stew. And then I'm having a lot of fun on TikTok right now, too. The real Professor Stew on TikTok.
The real Professor Stew.
Hey, I was a little apprehensive. They're like, you need to get on TikTok. I ain't messing with them kids, little kids on TikTok. I ain't about to be out here.
I love it too, though.
TikTok popping though.
It is popping.
TikTok make you feel
fun.
good.
It does.
Get a lot of dopamine up on TikTok.
You're right, because I get more views on. I be like, "Ooh, people like me. Okay, people like me. I'm getting my likes to get my likes." So I like that.
The addiction.
It is addiction. So we are excited to bring your mentee on the show to talk about this idea. So we can't wait to hear what he says.
It's going to be interesting.
And we'll be able to connect. So guys, one thing that I want you guys to know is that this whole series, you're hearing from mentors and you're hearing from mentees. So you're going to see this constant connection that we hope in this season that will just grow into this, I think, Garden of Eden, because we're planting different things, and so we can continue to see this thing grow into something really, really big. So I'm really excited about this season. Keep following us. One thing that I'm learning with our BBM family, guys, is that we want to be able to connect more. That's what while we're on this platform, we want to do more. We want to bring people out together. We want to do that. So that's our next evolution of what we want to be able to do so that people can connect, whether that's services, whether that's donations, whether that's support staff, whatever that is, we want to be able to build that. And that's the whole goal. I mean, I will say this, the platform is just one of the things, right? But the idea of that we can come out and connect and be able to do that. So I'm excited about that. Matter of fact, Scott, we need to invite you. I'm putting it out there, but we are having a private, you guys will hear about it later. But we have a private exclusive breakfast that we're doing for the president, with the Obama Presidential Center. And that's bringing all of our guests together in one room and allow for them to see the Black commerce that's in Chicago so that we can benefit from that, hopefully, prayerfully, in what's the South Side will become. And so, guys, keep following us. I promise you all that we will not leave one Black business unturned, that we are here to make sure that communities and there are places that people know about the Black businesses that exist, right? And so that's mine before I leave this earth, is to make sure that happens, and I will continue to be mission centric around us, even as a marketing and agency owner, is that it's important that we build this bridge that allows for us to not just win, but thrive and sustain ourselves. So when we're sleeping at night, we are making money, because that's the whole idea, right? When you sit here, it's like, okay, what from there is that. So, Scott, I want to say any final words before we, because we can go all day.
We can do this.
We can do
really
this.
Could do this.
We can do this. Any final words, my friend?
I'm sitting here and I was thinking, I was like, what, and the only thing I can come up with, Larvetta, is thank you. Like, this is you. This is your legacy. I am so happy for you.
Thank you.
And I think you should really be proud of yourself. Like, please don't ever think for 1 second that your work is in vain. Like, your entire life that I've been knowing you is absolutely inspiring. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. There's nothing more that I can say. I don't deserve to say anything else about me. Thank you for being thorough and A1 since day one. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. And for those of you who have not had the pleasure of meeting Larvetta, you are missing something from your life. So thank you for being a friend, and thank you for providing this platform. I see you. You dope. You dope. I always have been, and I appreciate you. Thank you.
We've been crying all day, y'all. So Scott's going to just keep me crying. I appreciate you, friend.
Absolutely,
I do.
dope.
I appreciate
it's an
that.
honor. I mean, I wouldn't be, there's nobody else I think I would be more excited to be on their show with right now than you. Like, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Every time I take a break and I come back, sometimes I'm always like, I'm tired. I don't want to do this no more.
Yeah.
And then I get this from my friend and my peer who I respect. So, guys, thank you all. Thank you for rocking with us. As we say, we're going to be doing some new things in this season. So listen out. We're going to be creating some new things. I've been in the lab creating some different things, just so that we can always plus it up. Every season, we want to take it up a notch. And so we're planning to take it up a notch. So rock with us. If you've been rocking with us, we thank you. BB, we're trying to get you all Black Businesses Matter, which is BBM. And that's just us shortening it a little bit because, I roll with these cool folks. Everything is a shortened, abbreviation and everything. So it's also BBM. And so we're building this BBM fam. You can text now. We have text features. So you can hear about that so that you can hear about all the things that we have. And we're also using this as a platform to share some of our guest wins. So we really want this to just, while you hear a story, that we can share some of their other stories, and we can do it in text form so that you can learn more about it and really create on that community. So please do keep us join the text list. I'm telling you all, it's some powerful things that's happening when you get that text list. You can't be invited to certain stuff unless you got to be able to be with the cool people. And you all know the cool people know about the cool stuff before it hits the social media. Am I right? So you want to be cool. You want to make sure that you are in the building and you have an opportunity to meet outstanding people. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you so much. Guys, I will see you all next week for another episode of Black Businesses Matter.
Thank you for tuning in to this powerful episode of the Black Businesses Matter podcast. One highlight for me was the in-depth conversation about grace. It is essential to remember that your mentors are human too and deserve the same grace that you would extend to anyone else. I also love the peer-to-peer mentor shout out, emphasizing that mentorship comes in many forms. Recognizing this is crucial. How does mentorship look in your life? How did this episode help you recontextualize some of your relationships? Share your answers to these questions, your favorite moments, and continue the conversation by leaving a review or commenting on our socials. And don't forget to join our community by texting BBM FAM, that's BBM FAM, to 312-300-1300. Be sure to check out our show notes to further connect with Scott. He is truly a valuable resource. See you next time on the Black Businesses Matter podcast.
The Black Businesses Matter podcast is produced by the L3 Agency, a culturally sensitive influencer, marketing, and communications firm in Chicago, where relationships are our currency, passion is our profit maker, and people are our bottom line. Follow us on Instagram at Black Businesses Matter.